I'm going to give a little bit of a background on what is happening physiologically in our bodies based on trauma. When there's threat, there are three responses. There's fight, there's flight, and there's freeze. If the organism believes that they do an assessment, they believe that they won't be successful, the next option is flight, to run away. And different organisms are evolutionarily stronger in one versus the other, and they kind of know that. And then the third one is, if both of those fail, the final option is to freeze. The freeze does a couple things. One is that it allows the organism to go into this higher state of consciousness, which makes them peaceful, and also makes them more immune to the pain. And so that's just in the event that they actually are killed. But it also serves a secondary benefit, or maybe a primary benefit, which is that they can play dead, as some would call it. And there's a chance that often predators don't eat their prey on the spot. They'll take them somewhere else. And in that in between, they might have a chance to get away if the predator thinks that they're already dead. So what happens is that when that freeze happens, if you aren't killed, what's supposed to happen physiologically, animals do this really well, is that energy, that activated kinetic energy from the running or the fighting, gets suddenly shut down and frozen in the body. So, and when the threat is over, if it is over, it needs to be released. So animals literally will shake to release it, but we human beings have lost that for the most part. We end up just like shutting down, not addressing it, so that activated energy gets frozen in our body. And what happens is that it re-triggers us into thinking there's a threat. So when there's activation, for example, think about if you imagine being in a jungle and you hear something out of the corner of your eye, or out of the corner of your space, your hair will stand up and you will become very alert to try to think about, like, what is that? That is an activated state. So that is like your body actually produces chemicals to activate your body. So that activated energy tells you to do certain things. So there's threat and look for it. So when that freeze happens and you don't release the activated energy, your body is in constant state of be alert, look for what is the cause. But the problem is the cause is 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 40 years ago, whenever the original trauma happened, and you're constantly vigilant to try to figure out what's the threat. And that is why we chase ghosts, right? We're chasing this ghost of the danger, and sometimes even recreating it, because in that recreating, we're trying to process it and release it, but it's never really getting released. So again, we need to find a framework for both ignoring that and disengaging from it, and for releasing it. Trauma therapy can be really helpful if it's the right kind. And there are people who are doing this where they're literally like shaking to release that. Would love to hear your thoughts.